There was a moment when you guys clinched at Citi Field against the Phillies. That great photo image of you really just taking it all in, getting emotional out there, really by yourself kind of. Can you take us through what was going through your head?
Yeah, I mean, at that moment, we had just overcome quite a few things there at the end of the season. So one, the Braves had always been kind of a thorn in our side.
You could say that.
And we were able to overcome that at Atlanta's place and be able to make the playoffs. And then number two, the Phillies won the division this year, and we were able to, kind of play really well against them there at home, and then do one thing, which is knock them off, but do another thing, which nobody had ever clinched at home before.
Hey, welcome to Meet at the Apple. I'm Vito Calisi. That's Jonathan Barron, and you might not be able to tell, but that is Brandon Nimmo, even though he's sporting a brand new look.
Yeah.
When did you say, hey, I'm going full beard?
We did it during the playoffs, just kind of going until we didn't anymore. And it was like, just don't shave anything, just go, and, kind of did the whole playoff beard thing. And then I got to the off season, and I didn't really feel like shaving it off. And so I just kind of I had someone trim it up. And when they trimmed it up, I was like, you know what? That's not bad. So you know what? I'm like a dad now. Like let's go with it. Let's just roll with it.
So how long is this? Is this like 5 months, 6 months of growth? I know you said it's been trimmed.
So this is straight up since playoffs. So
that was the last time you were clean shaven.
That's the last time I was clean
postseason.
shaven. So this has been the whole off season of just growing it and maintaining it. But it's working. Like I said, if it's got wins in it, we'll keep it going. If not, we'll probably get rid of it.
Well, you mentioned being a dad. Congratulations to you and Chelsea. You had baby Tatum in the offseason.
Thank you.
How is the diaper changing going?
Yeah, it's trying to get better at it each and every day. It's something that you have to kind of learn, and you try and at first you're really careful with them when you're changing them, and you think oh boy, if I do one thing wrong, they're gonna break. But then as you go along, you start to learn. Okay, you can kind of move them around a little bit, roll around, and kind of get them going so that you can get it on just right. But it's been great. I mean, we've had a lot of fun with it, and again, like I said, I'm just learning every day with it.
I've been changing a few diapers myself.
Yeah.
How quickly? What's your best time? What's your best time?
My best time probably is 3 minutes or so.
3 minutes?
Yeah,
Brandon, that's long.
I know. I'm not in long. The mood of I'm trying to make sure. Okay, this is leak proof. I'm not gonna get
no blowouts.
Yeah, I'm not getting in trouble when I'm the one that did this diaper, and then she wakes up from her nap and her whole outfit's wet, and so I'm trying to be meticulous with it. I haven't tried the old NASCAR, how quickly can I change the tires thing?
45 seconds.
Yeah.
You can get there. You can get there.
All right. Well, I'll take your word for it. I'll see if we can have a test run of it. I'll have Chelsea grab the stopwatch and see if we can change a diaper quickly one time.
Ooh, the sun's beating down on this thing. I'm getting a little warm. I'm just gonna unzip my jacket, okay?
Oh my gosh! Look at you.
This is so awkward. I didn't realize I was wearing this today.
I love that. Who made that into a t-shirt? Did you? Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
I need to talk to you about this moment because last year Mets fans got to know Sassy Brandon Nimmo.
That's right.
Throughout the year, you were just showing more attitude than we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I actually have the clip here.
Okay.
And John and I want you to walk us through this. Give us the commentary of this massive home run last year.
Okay, yeah. So we had just taken the lead, get a fastball here, middle cut. Knew I got it. Was pumped for the boys. We had just come back. They thought we were out, so I gave the boys a look. They were all jumping up and everything. And then Michael Harris had been giving us the tongue the whole season or the whole game, and he caught some regular fly ball with his tongue out. And so I just thought, you know what? Hey, if you're gonna give it, you got to be able to take it too. So gave him the tongue on the way around, and then we took the lead, and then they took the lead back. It was a heck of a game, and obviously everybody knows the rest. Francisco ended up hitting the 2-run homer. We ended up winning the game. We go to the playoffs, and That's what happens when two good teams get together. You have a lot of drama, and you have some memorable moments from it. So, yeah, that's sassy Brandon Nimmo right there.
Is there another level of sass? Because late in the season last year, Steve Gelbs would interview you on the field after wins, and you were pretty much like cutting WWE promos. You know, we're up in the control room listening to what you're saying.
Yeah.
We're getting pumped. Like, this is gold.
Yeah.
You got the beard now. It's a different edge.
Yeah.
You got the tongue out moment in the postseason. You're balling out as well, playing through injury, just not giving a you-know-what.
Yeah.
Is there another level of Brandon Nimmo sass that we're about to unlock?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I mean, it just was the vibe that our team was giving off, and like we were making such a great comeback in the season, and you know, I knew Mets fans, you know, down to their core, they want a team they can rally around and that you get behind, and that is good. And you know, at the end of the season, I was like, this is what it's all about. Like, this is what you guys want. This is what we want. We want to be playoff teams, having playoff atmosphere. And so, honestly, yeah, I was just trying to give the people what they wanted. And you know, it was just such a fun time to really honestly finish the season that way. I had an absolute blast, and yeah, hopefully it's a sign of more to come, because we're going to play with a bit of a chip on our shoulder. I mean, you know, everybody's going to be coming after us with the offseason we had and what we did last year getting to the NLCS, and you know, I'm sure there'll be no love lost between even, you know, the Braves. After this game, you know, like they're gonna want to take us down, you know. And same with the Phillies, like, you know, in the NLDS, and those games they're gonna be heated, and it's gonna be, you know, high competition, and you know, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, hopefully more of it to see.
A little more tongue wagging at Citi Field when Michael Harris and the boys are in town. Now, you mentioned the big offseason the Mets have had, and obviously the crown of that big offseason was the addition of Juan Soto. So we've been asking a lot of the guys this question: where were you, and what was your reaction when you got the news that Juan Soto was joining?
Yeah, I was at home, and you know, I got the news that it was coming through, and I was just pumped. I was so excited that Juan was going to be a part of our team. I knew that Steve and David were meeting with him, and had a few different meetings with him, and you know, sometimes would come away with like, yeah, you know, think things went well, and other times, you know, it was like, man, you know, I don't know, looking a little tough right now. And so when the news finally came through that we had signed him, I was just elated. You know, I was like, yes, I mean, here is a top 3 bat in the game right in the middle of our lineup. And, you know, it just makes us even that more dangerous, you know, after the run that we had last year to the NLCS. So having to play against him, you know, for all those years now, the 6 years, like, unbelievable hitter, unbelievable player, and you know, playing against him, you always know that he can change the game with one swing of the bat. And so to be able to have him on our team now, I just couldn't be more elated, and I'm excited to be his teammate now.
Do I have it right? You actually reached out to him before?
Yeah, I reached out to him, and I just, you know, I tried to just keep it as, you know, as normal as possible. I was not trying to, you know, invade his space or anything and be like, hey, you've got to join the Mets and all that. I just wanted him to say that, you know that, like, hey, we really want you here. You're going to be a huge part of our future. You know, you're somebody that this organization can rally around, and you know, and we can add on to this great list of players that we already have. But like, you complete this team, and you know, I just wanted him to know how much, coming from one of the players, like, it would mean for him to join our club and to be a teammate and to pull on the same end of the rope, and that we could do really special things here, you know, trying to win a World Series. And, you know, you always got to win one before you win, you know, two, but like, we're looking to try and you know, create a dynasty here, and something that, you know, Steve is really passionate about is, you know, trying to create a winning culture here year after year. And so, you know, I was just kind of trying to allude to the fact that, like, hey, our owner, like, he's the best, man. Like, if whatever we need, whatever it is, like, he's going to go get it for us, and he's going to try and help us be the very best that we can be. And when you have an owner like that, that's really, really special in baseball. And so just wanted him to know that, you know, coming from somebody that had been here and watched the organization kind of turn, that things were on the up and up now, and, like, you know, this is a great time to be a New York Met.
And you are the longest tenured Met on the team right now. So you've seen a lot of changes in the organization. You know the history of the team too. Yeah. And you know that this is an organization where we've had some trouble keeping some guys that have been here.
No doubt.
So that leads me to a guy that you get to see, one of your good buddies, Pete Alonso, come back here.
Yeah.
How good does it feel to see him come back here and know that this organization is changing for the better in such a good way?
I mean, it's amazing. You know, in 2020, Steve and Alex and we had a dinner where they basically wanted to know, how can we make this a place where players want to come and where players want to stay? And I think this offseason was the epitome of that, right? Because Juan being able to, any team would have loved to have Juan on their team, right? But we were able to bring him over here in spite of all the other 29 teams wanting him. And then, you know, Pete, a guy that's been here and that's homegrown, and we were able to bring him back and thread that needle and add him to this already potent lineup. Like, I think it was a perfect example of what the Cohens wanted out of buying the Mets and owning this team. They wanted it to be a place where guys come back because they love it here. And I think Pete absolutely loves the Mets, and, you know, he bleeds orange and blue. And I'm so happy that he's back. It makes our lineup that much better, and we all know that he can change the game with one swing of the bat as well. So, you know, for me, it's great to have him back. And today, it just felt like we didn't even skip a beat. Like it was, you know, it wasn't even like all the drama of the offseason. It didn't even happen. Like, we just got right back to business, and you know, we're teammates again. And I'm just so happy to have him.
Did you let out a big, like, maybe holy smokes when you got that news that Pete was coming back?
I mean, honestly, you know, we had all talked about, we had all seen, you know, the outside looking in, like, hey, they'd already met and they'd kind of already come to like both ends of the spectrum for them. Like, you know, seemed like Pete had come down to his bottom dollar and that the Mets had come up to their top dollar. And it was like, I'm not sure, like, that there was a path there. And so it kind of was, you know, one of those moments where you're like, well, shoot, you know, like, I want the best for him, but also I would have loved to have him back, you know. And then they were able to come to agreement and thread that needle again. And I was just elated. I mean, honestly, it was big surprise for me. And I was so excited to have him back because, like I said, I've been in the trenches with him for years now, and I know what kind of competitor he is, and I know how he can change the game. And so I'm so excited to have him back.
He's a big part of the lineup. And on the topic of the lineup, last year there was a bit of a change for you. Maybe moved Francisco to the top of the lineup.
Yep.
You had been the leadoff hitter for a really long time with your great on-base ability.
Right.
And you found yourself in a bit of an unfamiliar role hitting further down in the lineup. Does that change the philosophy when you step into the batter's box, not being the leadoff hitter, maybe hitting fourth, fifth in the lineup?
Yeah, so it did change things a little bit just because usually for the first at-bat of the game, I was rarely swinging at the first pitch. I was usually trying to kind of give us an idea of where that starting pitcher is at, you know, from the first batter. And so it did change my approach a little bit because, well, now I don't have to do that anymore. Now, like, if I'm hitting third or if I was hitting fourth, you know, I get to see, okay, how's this guy attacking right away? And then I might come in and up in an RBI situation first at bat of the game. So then from that point on, you just kind of let the situations dictate your at bats. But for that first at bat, it did change my approach a little bit to being more passive, a little more patient, you know, in that leadoff spot for the first at bat. And then, you know, being further down the lineup, you're ready to do damage right away and ready to try and get you guys on the board right away.
So one thing I noticed this offseason, you said, you know, you just had a daughter, you had Tatum.
Yep.
And we found out Francisco Alvarez is also having a daughter.
Yep.
We know Francisco Lindor has a daughter.
Yes.
Jesse Winker had his daughter here.
Has a daughter.
Yeah.
Tyrone Taylor has a daughter.
Tyrone Taylor has a daughter.
Yes.
Is this maybe the best all-time girl dad lineup?
I think you're right. I mean, it's pretty crazy how many of, you know, whether it's Mets or even, like, honestly, other athletes across that are having, like, daughters. I mean, it's amazing, you know. And so, I think we've got one of the all-time great girl dad lineups here, and I will hopefully add to it.
When are we all just going to go to Disney and go to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo?
Yeah.
And when are we just going to go American Girl doll? Like,
yeah,
what are
the Disney after they win the World Series.
Yeah,
that's an
exactly.
Easy one.
There you go.
That's
after
an easy
we win the
one.
World Series, you say, hey, I'm going to Disney World, and we all go do it. I think I'm down. As my wife would tell you, you don't have to drag me to Disney World. I would have a great time there, and we would enjoy the heck out of it. So sign me up for that.
Well, the World Series is in our sights. You guys obviously advanced to the NLCS last year.
Yep.
There was a moment when you guys clinched at Citi Field against the Phillies. That great photo image of you really just taking it all in, getting emotional out there, really by yourself kind of. Can you take us through what was going through your head?
Yeah, I mean, at that moment, we had just overcome, quite a few things there at the end of the season. So one, that the Braves had always been kind of a thorn in our side.
You could say that.
And we were able to overcome that in, at Atlanta's place and be able to make the playoffs. And then number two, the Phillies won the division this year, and we were able to, kind of play really well against them there at home, and then do one thing, which is knock them off, but do another thing, which nobody had ever clinched at home before.
Right, first time in Citi Field history.
And so for me, growing up in this organization, starting all the way back in 2011, all I wanted was to help us be successful, to help us try and get to a World Series, and to help this organization to try and be a winning organization year after year. And so for me, in that moment, that was a kind of a culmination of many, many years of hard work in the minor leagues, in, early on playing kind of the platoon guy, then being able to get a starting job and be able to really help out, and see the organization switch ownership, switch so many GMs, so many hitting coaches, so many different people have been a part of this process. But to get to that point where you feel like, yes, like we finally overcame that mountain. Like there was a mountain in front of us, and we finally got to the top of that one. Now there's still more to accomplish. Of course, there's a World Series to get to and a World Series to win, but for the Mets fan base to clinch at home, it was so special for me that it brought a huge amount of emotion and tears to my eyes to see that culmination and to see the fans enjoying that just as much as we did.
Yeah, I was going to say, you weren't alone. The 42,000 people in that stadium, the millions of Mets fans worldwide.
Yes.
We were all on the same page. One last quick one for you. 24 home runs in 2023.
Yep.
You hit 23 home runs last year.
Yep.
So now we're kind of power hitter Brandon Nimmo. Are we looking at a new career high in 2025?
I would love to. I set these goals where they're more daily goals, right? And I know that if I hit these daily goals, then they will amount to where I want to be at the end of the year. And so the daily goals are to try and have, good at-bats where they're hitting the ball hard, they're getting on base, whatever it may be to help us win the game that day. And I know at the end of the day, if I do those things on a daily basis, then we'll have some good personal statistics at the end of the year. So I would love that, and I would love nothing more than to have a PR and home runs and to be able to help us get to the World Series and win it.
And Disney World after that.
Brandon, the picture, I want you to know, we've spoken to you a bunch of times. John and I both grew up Mets fans. Being a part of that moment, being on the field, one of the best moments of our lives.
Yeah.
And that picture sums up everything. I also have that on a shirt.
Yes, heck yeah. I need both of these shirts. So
thank you so much, Brandon.
Let's do it.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.